Hello and welcome. Welcome back. I'm Zilla, and this is my stream Ancient Gaming, where I play video games with ancient studies content and talk about them. Joining me today and actually playing the game is my partner Tortoise.
Hello.
You may remember them from some previous streams, Heaven's Vault and Chance of Sonar, I think.
Yes.
Um, but, those games I actually enjoy playing. Hades is a beat 'em up roguelike, which is not exactly my forte. So, Tortoise has graciously volunteered to come back on and be our tour guide while I talk about what we are seeing. So, Hades 2, brand new release, if you don't know. Hi, Samantha. Thanks for coming. Good to see you. If you are here in chat, please feel free to say hello. It is always lovely to have you, and I will try to keep up. So, first things first, we gotta talk about Melanoe. I mean, look at her. Isn't she gorgeous? So, for those of you who have not seen my video about Hades, the first game, just to give you a background. Thanks, Sam. Hades and Hades 2 are both based off of something called Orphic mythology, which is a sort of a subset of Greek mythology that has a really wild take on a lot of things that are happening. Now, these games have kind of folded that together with more canonical, shall we say, Greek mythology. Greek mythology is a lot more like comic book canon than it is like, a single movie or something. So there's a lot of maybes and ifs, and here we have yet another version. So Zagreus, the protagonist of Hades 1, does not exist outside of Orphic mythology. He is an Orphic character. He is often referred to so Orphic myths are basically known from a series of like a small series of hymns and a bunch of these extremely mysterious gold plates inscribed with various prayers for eternal life, or all sorts of things. A lot of these sort of mystery cults, we call them now, were focused around the idea of regeneration or reincarnation, some way to extend life beyond the end of the mortal world and avoid being stuck in, well, Hades, which is the name of the place, probably even before there was a guide to be named it. So, in these Orphic myths, in these hymns, there are several mentions, or a bunch of different mentions of a Zagreus, who is sort of the Orphic, the underworld Dionysus. And their interpretations, let's say, they're interpretations that either he's Persephone's son by Zeus or by Hades, being referred to as sort of the underworld Zeus. And so that's where we get sort of our main characters. And in Hades 1, we do actually get a conflation between Orpheus and Dionysus, even though both are distinct characters in that world, when we come to Orpheus. And if you want to see me talk about that more, please go watch my video. Tortoise is waiting for me to start talking about this game. So Melanoe is actually, I had not actually heard of her before Hades 2 started being talked about. She is mentioned in exactly one Orphic hymn. I believe it's number 73, if I looked that up, if I remember what I looked up correctly. And she is, again, a daughter of Persephone. Depending on how you interpret how the hymn is written, either by Zeus coming into the underworld and deceiving her, or by Hades in the persona of chthonic Zeus. Chthonic just being a word for underworld. Also, my favorite word in the English language. So what do we know about Melanoa? She's in this one hymn, and she is mentioned on one witchcraft tablet sort of thing from the 3rd century CE, um, where she is invoked sort of alongside Persephone and some other moon phase goddesses. So what do we know about her? She's associated with the moon, obviously. You can see that in her design everywhere here, right? She's got the sickle that's shaped like a moon. She's got the moon, the crescent on her headband, on her shoulders. It's in her belt, the zona, a girdle. There's a moon symbol coming up her leg. It's all built out of crescents. It almost looks like a ocean wave. It's again on the hilts of, well, not really the hilts, but the guards of her weapons. Moon, 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 moon. Yes, absolutely. She is associated with the moon. No doubt about that. And we've got that in association from that sort of magic tablet sort of thing that I was talking about, which is actually it's a bronze triangle inscribed with a whole bunch of moon goddesses. I don't really know a whole bunch about this particular tablet. I really just looked it up very briefly so I could know what mentions there are of this character. But that's really all the information we get there. In the original hymn, what we get is that she is saffron robed, which we do see here. She's got this lovely yellow-orange colored robe, and saffron is very particularly associated with this part of the world, with the Mediterranean Sea. It grows there. Makes a wonderfully rich array of dyes, really, mostly in the yellows, but also into orange and sometimes red. And it's also associated with a much older religion that we find on the islands in the Mediterranean, where there appears to have been a saffron goddess. So there's a possibility, and this is just me with my knowledge, I'm not like quoting anybody else here. When I see saffron robed, and it is specifically crocus flower, crocus. Wow, the rest of the word just vanished out of my head. But crocus is crocus flower, is saffron, where saffron comes from, and that's specifically. I can't talk today. Specifically associated with only 2 characters. It is an epithet of Melanoa in the one place that she appears in writing, and it is an epithet of the dawn goddess. For I think obvious reasons in the latter. So there's a possibility that she's associated with the dawn, with the setting of the moon, the rising of the sun. But I think it's actually more likely that she's associated with this older crocus deity who was worshipped on the Greek Isles. If you look into sort of the wall paintings from Akrotiri at Santorini, you'll see a lot of depictions of these ceremonies sort of surrounding crocus picking and gifts to the goddess.
I'm curious, is in the Mediterranean, is crocus also a sort of winter going into spring flower?
I think so, yeah.
So does that have sort of overtones of renewal, or?
It certainly might. And that's one of those things where it's kind of hard to say because a lot of those areas don't have as strong a winter, right? Because we're talking about places where snow is a rare sight. A lot of the time. I mean, northern Greece certainly gets snow. But it's a less marked thing. But again, we are also still talking about a daughter of Persephone, no matter way you slice it. And Persephone is inherently a goddess of renewal. So it probably does have something to do with that. Good idea.
I also noticed that there's this figure in the center in the background.
Yes. Now, I'm not 100% sure because I've actually managed to not spoil myself too hard for this game somehow, but I suspect that that is Hecate, or Hecate. Um, because I think that the setup here is that Hecate is Melinoe's tutor. Now, Hecate is another moon goddess, and she is specifically the goddess of crossroads and witchcraft. Again, suspected by many to be a much older goddess that was sort of taken into what we think of as Greek mythology. And I do know that we're going to get some amount of witchcraft going on here. And that's not surprising if you look at this image, right? Because she's got this like ghost arm, she's got some sort of levitation powers with her weapons, and she's got this hermetic circle behind her head, which I kind of love and also kind of hate. So like that is anachronistic. You aren't going to see ancient Greek hermetic circles. And what I mean by hermetic circles are, this is like if you think of the sort of the medieval alchemy style of witchcraft and magic, this is the kind of thing you see where there are intricate diagrams with particular sigils in particular places to invoke a thing. And that typically is much later. But at the same time, they've also brought in that triangular tablet that Melinoe is found on. And I think that's probably intentional. As for Hecate, I'm having a little trouble parsing what's on her right now. Her face is hidden, which is interesting.
Her hat has the same crescent moon symbol.
Which is, and again, not super surprising given that she's also a moon goddess. She seems to have masks on her shoulders. That could be a reference to the Triskalia, the three-way crossroad, specifically associated with witchcraft. So she could be a goddess of three faces, perhaps. Also a moon thing having multiple phases, and usually that is how we see it. If you look on Melinoe's belt, actually, you see sort of the half moon, the crescent moon, and the full moon, all hanging there. So we think that Melinoe is associated also with madness and curses. I don't quite know how we get there, but distinctly possible. Possibly something in the hymns. Yes, Trivia, 3 roads, exactly, Triskalia. Trivia. There was something else I wanted to say about her before we go. What was it, gosh? Well, maybe I'll think of it as we play. So welcome. I hope that you're enjoying my absolute over-the-top rant about Melinoe as we get in. Let's play some Hades. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Melinoe, the name. There's a thought that it comes actually from melinos, from melon, meaning sort of quince-colored.
Few tales are told of Hades, whose reign as grim lord of the dead came to a sudden end when all at once his past caught up with him. But gods do not go quietly, and history repeats. So this tale was only a matter of time.
That's interesting.
Death to Kronos.
So,
Vengeance for my family.
here we are, Melinoe running around with some kind of magic staff. So there is not a canonical story that I know of where Hades dies. This is sort of moving onward, but that sort of reference to time, they're doing something. So they've said death to Kronos. And they're doing a little conflation here, and it's one that's very tempting, between Kronos, the father of the gods, the father of Zeus, and the Chronos, the word for time. Now these are two different letters in Greek. They're not actually the same thing, but it is very tempting to merge them, and so that we have this menacing titanic figure who has power over time. Kronos, the Titan, who was the father of Zeus and the early Olympians. Probably his most famous stories are his castration of his father Uranos in order to take the throne from him, and then his devouring of his own children to keep them from doing the same to him, which failed spectacularly when Zeus in fact killed him. But Kronos is also associated with sort of a golden age, and particularly if you go into some of the myths from Italy, the Etruscan and Roman myths, see Kronos as this kind of pastoral figure who reigned over fertile lands and sort of pre-civilization. So conflating him, which I believe they are doing here, with Chronos, the concept of time, which oddly enough I don't think there was a Greek deity who was associated with that. You have the orai, the hours, but and like you have seasons and winds, but you don't really have a large picture concept of time. It's sort of a natural thing to do for an English speaker. Yeah, so Kronos was a Titan, but in the Titanomachy, I believe that he was already dead. So Zeus subdued the Titans. But he also did take control of the other Titans, so that may be what you're thinking, or maybe the Gigantomachy. So, for all of those, by the way, the reading you want is Hesiod. There are some wonderful tellings of those wars before humanity. So Melanoi is in Erebus. We saw her come into Erebus, so one of the deepest parts of the underworld. She seems comfortable and safe here. We have shades popping up. They have little moon hats, so they're associated with her, or with at least the same thing as her in some way. And we do have these cute little water shades popping up now and again. Erebus is not particularly detailed in descriptions in Greek myth because it is just the black pit at the bottom of Hades. But we did see it last game in several places where you went down from the lowest point, right when you fight Charon, and when you have those little like heat-based battles, and
also I think that's where
that's where.
Actually, no, chaos might just reside in chaos.
Yeah. So this is
these trees.
these trees are definitely interesting. They look like they're hung with viscera.
Lovely.
Kind of hard to say. We have skull-ish candles, maybe? It's kind of hard to say. I would guess that sun symbol means we're going to be talking to Apollo when we leave the room. We didn't see Apollo in the last game, so that'll be fun. I wonder what that moon with sort of a floating tablet above it is. Restore, probably magic. Right, I was talking about Melanoi's name. So melon, melos, is our word melon. But it really just means a fruit, a round fruit. And so there's a theory that she is named that way for the melinos. Melinos would be melon-like, melon-colored. So like quince maybe. Personally, I wonder if it's actually a lengthening of a shorter vowel, and that it's melanos. Like melos is honey, and Noah means mind, and so she's a god of madness. And so I wonder if it's about a temptation for the mind. It would be a sort of a name that sort of circumlocutes the thing that you want to talk about. Like instead of calling on a goddess named Mania, you talk about the sweet-minded one. It's just a theory. All right, I don't have anything else to say yet. Sorry. Can talk forever.
Lost souls. I'll make the Titan pay.
So we know we're fighting a Titan. These souls are lost because of the Titan. Somehow.
Fall back to dust.
So much like in Hades 1, you can kill things using the environment. There are different types of enemies that all sort of are made of lost souls, and they drop gold.
This realm.
This is my father's realm, she says.
Just another span. 10 words. In the name of Hades, Olympus, I accept this message.
So it is a message from Hades. She's learned the spell.
Greetings from Olympus and well met there, sunshine. Look, we can't get to the Titan, but if you truly mean to stop him, then the least I can do is light your way down.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, look at this artwork. I love it so much. Oh, hey, Kiernan, thank you for coming. Yeah, you're right, that there is Kairos. Is Ion personified? Kairos is the right time, the opportune moment. There is a personification of that. I don't remember seeing a personification of Ion, but I just might not be remembering it. Ion is the same as our word eon, like an age. There is later? Okay. So in Hades 1, of course, we have Zagreus accepting messages from Olympus, from Olympian gods, using that formulation. In the name of Hades, I accept this message. So Melanoe apparently has some hesitation about using it, but she did, and it worked. And here is Apollo. Oh my goodness, look at him. Oh my goodness, he's such a fop. Oh, I love it. So he's got this blazing sun symbol. Apollo is the god of light, and that is true in a lot of senses. He's the god of, we'll call it highbrow art. He's the god of music and enlightenment, art. He is associated with the sun. His armor here is absolutely fabulous. He is shining and golden. I love that they've given him dark skin. If you remember the art of Artemis from the last game, he is her twin brother. They do actually look a little bit alike, but he does seem to be both darker of skin and fairer of hair than they depicted Artemis. He's wearing a lot of jewelry. You see he's got not just this breastplate, not just the belt, but also many armbands. And I would call that a headdress, but it's really a laurel wreath under there. Laurel is his symbol. The laurel wreath, the symbol of victory, is his symbol. Tortoise is grimacing because he knows why. The story of the laurel wreath is the word for laurel in Greek is daphne, and that's because it was created when Apollo, struck by an arrow of Cupid, was overcome with desire for this wood nymph named Daphne. Now, her father was a river god, so she wasn't exactly powerful, and neither was her father. And seeing Apollo pursuing her, she fled. And he followed, and finally she called out to her father to turn her into a tree to escape him. She turned into a laurel tree, and Apollo, seeing that he had been bested but still wanting her, made the laurel his symbol and cut a branch for his hair. And that's why the laurel wreath is the symbol of victory from then on. Don't you love Apollo? So we can receive a boon from him. I didn't actually process what it was he said, but he's offering us a boon. Just like in Hades 1, we can receive these bonuses to the mechanics from the gods. Did he say why he was offering us a boon? Or did he just say, here's something for you?
He was like, I can't get to the Titan myself, but the least I can do is light your way down.
So neither of us ever having played or watched this game before, well, I don't know, maybe Tortoise has watched
Let's
some.
see if I need
Nope.
those.
Interesting. So, the gods of Olympus cannot enter the underworld with the exception of Hermes, the messenger god. So, if they wish to fight Kronos in Hades, they need someone who can enter. And Melanoe, so they need Melanoe. She says, we'll see if I need them. She does. Just guessing.
Waitress. I'll need these soon enough.
I'm guessing it's upgrade currency. Oh.
So, again, we have pomegranates available. Pomegranates being a symbol of the underworld in the story of Persephone. I'm guessing that most of you have heard that before, just to reiterate it. Persephone was the daughter of Demeter, living in the overworld, and she was given to Hades as a wife by her father Zeus. And Hades stole her, unwilling, down to the underworld. And when he realized how unwilling she was, he just kind of let her be for a while, and she refused all food, and but in the end she snuck some pomegranate seeds. And when Demeter finally found Persephone and it was brought essentially to a trial before the gods, it was declared that because Persephone had eaten some of the pomegranate seeds, that for each seed she had eaten, she had to spend 1 month of the year in the underworld. And when she's in the underworld, Demeter mourns, and Demeter is the god of growing things and grain, and so we have winter. So, here in Hades, in this version of Hades, pomegranate trees are some of the only ones that grow. So far, I'm not seeing anything very distinctive about these enemies that makes them mythologically interesting. Although I do note that there are a lot of sort of spider nest bulbs. So we don't even get to talk to Apollo again this time. Although it's interesting the icons that we have here. We have the bright foot, which I would have assumed would be more Hermes. But then the sun, the double sun. So a twin sun, and then a lyre, which is, of course, representative of Apollo's music.
So bright.
That might represent a heart, perhaps?
Denied.
So those particular enemies look almost like they are wrapped mummies. I wonder if that is more in line with the spider eggs, or if that's meant to be a reference to Egyptian burial practices.
Not precisely now.
Bones, huh? So we have an option of Charon's shop or Poseidon's favor.
Don't have much money, so
Let's see what Poseidon is up to.
A root stalker.
Root Stalker.
ooh, that's
It's a
good.
mini boss. So some kind of plant-based enemy. She's shooting thorns.
Return to Shadow now.
Time cannot be stopped. Is our. There is no escape. And then.
Back already. Damn it.
A frog!
See what I get for staying out all night, Frinos.
Okay, so this is Phrynos. He is presumably a reference to the frogs that live in the river Styx, the frogs of the Greek underworld, which were made up, as far as we know, by Aristophanes, the comedian, for his play The Frogs. But they are wonderful, and I love them. It is one of my favorite plays. Phrynos actually is the Greek word for toad, and you might recognize it more by its feminine, Phryne, as in Phryne Fisher, or Phryne, the great mistress of Rhodope? Where was she? I don't remember where. Anyway, at some point, the name Phryne became associated with prostitution, and was a fairly common euphemism or stage name. But Phrynos just means froggo, basically. Any cute. I mean, it means toad. There's a different word for frog. Who's this?
Who dares disturb my eternal rest? You trifle with powers far beyond your comprehension, witch.
She's cute.
That was pretty decent, right, Mel?
Dora the Listless Shade.
Like that.
Is this like Dusa duty-bound Gorgon?
Okay. So, Dora. Do you think...
I'm guessing it's short for Pandora, but she'll never tell.
Could be. I'm a little curious about her form here, because her arms look very much like they're ending in lion paws. And so I'm wondering if she's actually meant to be a Sphinx spirit. But maybe not. Kind of hard to tell. Dora by itself isn't particularly suggestive to me, but
Well, I mean,
but
in
Pandora.
the context of Pandora, it's gifts.
Yes. Dora is the plural of gift, so it could also no, it would be too far to take it from weapon. There's a Doru is tree or spear, tree branch, but Dora usually is from Doron, gift. So we'll see if this really is Pandora, if we get any other hints.
Solid haunting all in all, Dora, and I thought the witch part worked, but I'd better go. Something I have to do.
Brood. Alright, so family portraits.
Painting. Don't look away. Don't forget all that the Titan took from you.
So here we have the characters from Hades 1, of course. Hades in the back, Zagreus and Persephone in the front.
And a little portrait of Phrynos.
Oh. Froggy lips.
Amidst all the scented candles and whatnot.
Stand tall and show
So
no
the
weakness.
crossroads, again, suggesting Hecate.
There you are. Come here.
Interesting sort of labyrinth symbol. This is the same as the design around the cauldron here is the same as the one around the gem in Melanoe's zona, her belt. I don't know precisely what it's meant to symbolize here. It looks like a fairly traditional labyrinth style of artwork, which is not something that I would have expected here necessarily. I do want to note that I don't know what kind of birds those are supposed to be. At first I thought they were owls, but they're not. They might be... They're not crows. I don't know what kind of bird those are supposed to be. I actually wanted to note the little hovering ghosts around here appear to be enemies from the first game that were actually quite difficult. The witches that would send lots and lots of fiery balls after you. So very appropriate to have them here as Hecate's followers. We've got some more animals too. There's what looks like a ferret and a hound over there. And who is that? You can't.
Hi, gang. Headmistress must have some important tasks for you.
So, oh, they're so cute.
Time forced our hand, Melanoe. Nereus Soul expected you to slay our enemy last night, on a new moon, no less.
Okay, so we have that symbol again. You see the same zona, the belt around Hecate's design. Very similar imagery. The hat looks a lot like Melanoe's leg guard. The crescent moons we can see much more clearly here. Still not sure why her face is veiled, but we have a very traditional witch hat, which is a much more modern style of symbolizing a witch. Same with all the pentacles. The five-pointed star really was not from this genre of this culture, but we have seen tons of pentagrams in the design in the sets so far, and there are a bunch here on the cloth part of Hecate's skirt.
I lack such forgiveness for my failure, Headmistress Hecate. The Titan yet lives, and Olympus yet burns, while I'm back where I started.
So, interesting description of Hecate as a headmistress. So they're kind of building up this idea of this as a school of witchcraft, which is not something that I'm really familiar with in this setting. What it actually reminds me of most is Sappho schoolmistress, which is not a positive association. When it comes to sort of ancient Greece, you do have a lot of little individual schools around run by individual masters. The philosophy schools of classical Athens, like Plato's school and Xenophon's school, or stuff like that. But witchcraft really took off mostly in Thessaloniki, Thessaly, the older name. It was very much associated with Hecate and the moon, drawing down the moon being one of the sort of the main things associated with it. Mostly curses, but also shape-changing. I know some folks who specialize in Greek witchcraft, and I'm really not them. There's a lot to be learned here. There's a lot of sort of Greek magic that is not really witchcraft in the same way to them. Like, like Circe Kirkaz is a witch because she transforms people, not because she can make drugs, right? That's kind of like Helen can also make drugs. Like that's in the same text. That was assumed to be a property that skilled women had. So what is this school? A school of magic, perhaps? Who else is here? Who else is studying under Hecate? That's what I want to know.
Yes, recovered bodily, if not in spirit, and grown wiser for it. You've not failed, merely begun. This is all part of the task. Death to Kronos.
It's interesting that Hecate has such clearly defined abs. That's actually very difficult to do in a femme body without a lot of dehydration and other nasty things.
Be well, headmistress.
And you, Melanie.
So you can apparently use the cauldron, but what for?
It's being purified.
Okay. You can't use it yet. It's being purified. There's a lot of interesting people to talk to down here.
Tell me you killed the bastard.
Odysseus! Well, now here he is, Mr. Problematic Fave himself. Ah, Odysseus. So, I don't know what version we're going with here. He is a complicated figure, but if you have read anything about Emily Wilson's translation of the Odyssey, that one will make sense to you. There was just such an uproar about translating his epithet Polotropos as complicated, even though it is absolutely the correct word. So, Odysseus, veteran tactician indeed, Liar McLiarface would equally apply. So he was, of course, one of the heroes on the Greek side of the Trojan War. Hero, not necessarily meaning good guy. But very known for his trickiness. Yeah, as long as you can, as long as you can bullshit. Yeah. So he was king of Ithaca, which is an island in the Mediterranean. He was the originator of the Trojan horse idea. He slaughtered a whole bunch of people. He was so freaking cocky that he pissed off the gods, and it took him 10 years to get home because he kept insulting them. He may or may not have invented basically the entire story of the Odyssey, because it's all told in his voice, and he is not a reliable narrator. But adventure he certainly did, and he did make it home to Ithaca, where he then also slaughtered a whole bunch of people. And then he was told that in order to actually be forgiven, he had to walk inland with an oar from his ship until he was far enough inland that somebody mistook it for a winnowing fan, which is like a thing that you use to parse out grain. And then plant it there, and then he could go home. But he did that and then was immediately killed by his bastard son that he had along the way. So, joke's on him, I guess. Don't know what version of him we're getting here. He might be fun, he might be terrible, he might be both. His armor is in an older style. As you can see, it's metal plates sewn onto a leather base. So not a... to be fair, the people he killed in Ithaca were all bad. Not necessarily. I mean, you really think that all of the maids who slept with people that he didn't like were bad? So he's got an older style of armor on, much more flexible style. It's he's got lots and lots of papers. That's not surprising. He's thought, primarily an intellectual, so there's that. He's got bird designs on his overcoat, which is interesting. I don't know precisely what that's about, but he does have a lot of moons, signifying his current position, I assume. And something that looks like it might be a telescope, which is not something that they actually had.
Kronos, the Titan of Time, is vanquished, Odysseus. I have his head right here. At least, I wish I did.
It's a good way to answer Odysseus, to be fair.
Well, you'll get him next time, I reckon.
Death to Kronos, sir.
You'll get him yet.
Who have we here?
Already hit a wall. Knocked your scrawny ass all the way back.
Nemesis! Yeah! Oh, I love Nemesis. Okay, so we think of Nemesis as, the goddess of vengeance. She'll come after you and make sure you suffer the consequences for what you did. But that's really more of the Fury's position. I mean, it's not what she did. But you see her here in very anachronistic, but really fantastic warrior garb. She's got the same zona with the moon phases and the labyrinth around the gem. She's got dark blue gem accents, which I think is interesting. I wish I could see what her sword was actually made of. It looks like it's highly decorated. She's got little wing accents, and indeed she is usually depicted as winged. And she's here Retribution incarnate.
It might be a skull on the sword guard. I don't remember. Nemesis is one of the aspects of the sword in Hades 1.
That's
so she is wielding that.
She's wielding that sword. Oh, that's cool. I had forgotten that. So one of the things about Nemesis is that in many versions she is the mother of Helen, actually, and not Leda. That Zeus pursued her winged and took advantage of her, we'll just say. And she is, after all, the goddess of getting back at people.
You're fortunate you have even this responsibility for all your questioning of orders and complaining.
interesting characterization.
Oh, shut up.
We'll see how that goes. And she does have a raven. You see on top of that rock behind her. She gets a raven. I really want to know what kind of birds those other birds are. What's that
The
pinging?
crossroads, that haven hidden twixt the surface and the underworld, conceals those still loyal to Lord Hades, rightful ruler of the dead.
Okay.
Together we'll retake my father's realm.
What else do we have around here?
Oh.
This is a direction.
My altar.
Oh.
Headmistress lent me the arcana.
Ah, so here we've gone into tarot, which is distinctly much later. Tarot sort of comes... Divination cards have existed for a long time, but tarot really doesn't come about for quite a few more centuries beyond ancient Greece. Actually, I have I'll call it a video in the works about tarot cards and gaming cards and sort of a confluence of those that happened to come across my path. But it makes sense if you're playing to a modern sensibility about witchcraft and magic to bring in the tarot cards, because that's one of our sort of modern signifiers for this is magical, right? Something that's relatively accessible, but also mystical. So apparently the currency you have is ash.
The sorceress.
So these are not the traditional tarot arcana either. So the sorceress, presumably meaning Hecate, I'm interested. She's got a bloody sword through her chest, which is fascinating. And her hands are stained with the blood, which is also spilling over the top of the card. Hard to say where they're going with that. The first card in the traditional tarot is, well, the Fool. But if it's meant to represent a sort of Fool card, maybe it's actually meant to be Melanoa herself, but it really doesn't look like her. I think it's Hecate. And then if we go over to the ones that we just unlocked, the Wayward Son, clearly that's a depiction of Zagreus, although it's very weird looking, quite honestly. I don't know what's wayward about him, but he does have Cerberus heads, which are all over his design in the previous game. So he has Cerberus heads and pomegranates. And then we've also unlocked the Furies. So we met them in the previous game, right? We had Megara as one of our main NPCs, and then her sisters, Tisiphone and Alecto, thank you. Sometimes words. Also were reasonably well characterized. This actually doesn't look terribly like their design in the previous game. I think what we're seeing here is a stylized version of Tisiphone in the front, Meg in the middle, and Alecto in the back, but it's still kind of difficult to parse as them.
Although Meg did wear that style of like one shoulder.
Yeah, they all had a single wing in that design. So they all had the one shoulder garment.
Oh, okay.
The Wayward Son.
The Furies being spirits of vengeance who would arise from the underworld for the greatest of sins, which tended to be things like killing a parent. Now we have the Huntress. That'll be Artemis, also a moon goddess, also associated with the antlers, of course. See her garbed much like she was in the previous game. You see the various creatures, or forest creatures around there. This could also be a depiction of, I don't know, someone like Atalanta, but I suspect that it's meant to be a goddess. Persistence. That's a very mysterious entity. I'm not entirely sure what it's depicting. We've got some feathers, some crocus stamens, it looks like, and hands reaching up from below, and these very large earrings. So I'm not entirely sure who that's going to be. Perhaps we'll find out.
I wonder if that's supposed to be Melanoia herself, because she is going to be persisting. Presumably.
Very possibly. Very possibly.
Because you mentioned the crocus stamens.
Yeah, for sure. It could be an image of Melanoia. I'm a little surprised by the earrings, though, if it is Melanoia.
Yeah.
That'll do.
Oops. Whoop.
So, bones and ash are what you trade. So what else is around here? The weapons area, it looks like.
At my disposal.
The Arms of the Night. So we're wielding the witch's staff, I suppose. And we also have, not yet available, we have Sister Blades, which is how she was depicted in the loading screen, with the one sickle and the one dagger. Sickle is a weapon actually traditionally associated with women, as it's used for close harvesting, for reaping up close. It's like a scythe, but smaller. But also for its lunate, moon shape. Umbral flames, so umbral meaning shadow. So, not sure what that means exactly in this instance. And then a Moonstone Axe, which is a two-sided Alabras axe associated with the Minoan culture. Alabras is also these days a symbol of lesbianism. I'll take that for what you will. But a very powerful looking version, and of course associated with Moonstone here. And then there are two more spaces where we don't even know what will be there. What's this? Is that, that's the exit. Or, okay, we have up and out.
Sealed as always.
Okay, so we can't go up.
Oh, hey.
Who are you?
The only question is, are you prepared to win? I'm not so sure here, so let's see you give me 20.
So,
Commander Skelemius, sir, you're certain it's acceptable for me to strike you 20 times in front of all your students?
I love the way they've drawn her face. I really do.
Dead certain. Now hit me with everything you got.
As you will, sir.
I am enslaved.
So Commander Skellimaeus, a joke on the first game when this character showed up as Skelly, sent by Hermes to
Forgive me, sir.
provide a training partner and assistant for Zagreus. We did learn at some point that he used to be Commander Skellimaeus. And again, they're doing the sort of the k switcheroo, right, to suggest skeleton. He did not have clothes or medals or anything in the first game.
Get out your magic back.
What?
You wandered into...
Death to Kronos. I'll see to that. No one is more prepared. Beyond the mists of Erebus, there should be a way down. Too risky heading through Elysium, and too risky to stay. All right, it's time.
Is it? I think this is just a viewpoint. Okay, so I think there was more that you didn't explore before the altar? Or what's this? Nothing at the present. But before you got to the altar, wasn't there another way to go?
Yeah.
Come on now. Exit's back the other way.
Oh. Okay. Well, I guess that's that then. Shall we do one more run and then call it a day?
Find the Titan, slay the Titan. The Sigil of Frost.
Sigil of Frost. This is Demeter that we're talking about. You see, it's not actually frost you're seeing. It's a sheaf of grain.
In the name of Hades, Olympus, I accept this message.
You look just like your mother. I'll not lose her again. I shall freeze hell in its entirety if that is what it takes to get her back. You'll help me, won't you, granddaughter?
And we see here Demeter dressed for war. She's got her sheaves of grain behind her head, but she's covered in snow. She is the goddess of the seasons, as they say. Generally, like, you really don't see any ancient depictions of her as the goddess of winter, right? Like, that's our version. She is the goddess of growing grain. Her name in her Roman conception is Charis, which actually literally, like, that's where we get the word cereal, right? And Demeter breaks down to Earth Mother. But here she is prepared to freeze hell if it will get her daughter back.
Grandmother. For my mother, all of you gather round.
What's that? Looks like a thing you can gather, apparently.
Molly.
Ah, the magical herb moly. If you've ever heard the expression holy moly, that is actually an ancient Greek magical item. You can see it in the story of Odysseus and Circe, where Hermes gifted him the herb moly to ward off Circe's spell of transformation.
Within
So
mist-shrouded labyrinthine Erebus lie countless souls of the dead, awaiting judgment that shall never come.
there were judges of the dead, but not in the sort of moral sense that we would think of it now.
Perish.
These enemies look a little more thorny. The small ones, anyway.
Oh.
be a magic up.
They're slowing down.
They are.
A soul tonic.
A soul tonic.
Good.
Ah, max magic is increased. So we have Aphrodite or money. I vote Aphrodite because I want to see what they do with her. Also, I've seen some images and they're funny. Caskets is what they call those, huh? Interesting.
The heart sigil. Doubtless this one knows hatred, not just love. In the name of Hades, Olympus, I accept this message.
Aphrodite known for being extremely vengeful.
You look like you can break some hearts even without my aid. Oh, your brother would be so proud knowing you're fighting for your kin.
There she is, Aphrodite, goddess of love and lust and everything in between, known for being fickle and vengeful and appealing as always, dressed for battle in her best armor, which is to say, nothing.
Yeah, I had heard that they had somehow managed to make Aphrodite even more naked than in the first game,
And here she is, wearing little but her hair and a collar and something on her leg. She does have spear and shield. She's got roses, which are a more modern symbol of love. But heart shapes are actually ancient, thought to be associated with the silphium plant, which was abundant for many years, but actually the last known silphium plant was given as a gift to the Emperor Nero, who ate it upon a salad. The silphium plant, one of its many uses was as a birth control pill, more or less. Also an abortifacient, also a love potion, you know. I'm sure it could do all of those things somehow. Amazingly, the weirdo gamer bros decided that this depiction of Aphrodite looked manlier than her previous incarnation. She's a nude woman. I don't know how much more womanly you can get, physically speaking.
What's this?
So I guess the thorned ones are called whisperers and the bound ones are called caskets.
Some nectar.
Okay, nectar's good. Will aid us in our quest. Well, another mini boss. Let's see if we get to see Poseidon this time.
This one again.
Oh,
Among the many reasons for me not playing this game, I don't think you can talk and have this boss fight at the same time. At least not while you're still new at it. You're doing great, Tortoise. This is your second time fighting this enemy. Oh, well, you got her first health bar. All right.
You're one of my father's brothers, aren't you? Then help him. In the name of Hades, Olympus, I accept this message.
So,
Long lost niece, you live. We thought you met the same fate as your father, and your mother, and your brother. Oh. Well, how about we turn the tide and exact terrible revenge for poor old Hades and his kin?
oh, here's Poseidon, looking to me precisely as goofy as he did last time, which is appropriate. He has got his long, wavy green hair, like the waves of the ocean that he rules. He's patterned with shells and scales. When the three brothers, Hades, Zeus, and Poseidon, divided up the realms, he took the ocean, which holds the land. He's also known as the Earth Shaker, and earthquakes are attributed to him. Hades took the underworld, and Zeus the heavens. So those are actually the three realms. The earth is left to Demeter. Melanoia is so far much more serious and demure than I expected. I expected some of Zagreus's sass.
Can't recover here. Need to press on. Waders.
Well, your magic is great. Oh, more moly.
Farther than last time.
It is further than last time, that's true. Oh, you got some health points back.
A palm of power.
And pomegranates allow us to level up skills.
These still grow in the underworld.
Bones or ash? Ash. Let's get some more tarot cards.
Ash of the dead.
Pretty good at lasting on this last health point. Oh.
That does not look good. So,
Return to shadow now.
Alright, I think that's a good place for us to end for the day. I hope you enjoyed the ride. We will be back not this coming week,
Reynos, you there?
but the week after that. And,
You know what they say, Reynos. Failure is the greatest instructor of all.
Froggo. So, Tortoise, will you be with us 2 weeks from now?
2 weeks from now, I'm have a substitute teaching day.
Okay, so 2 weeks from now I'm going to be doing some Pathless. which I did a little bit of last week, and we'll check out some more interesting archaeological notes there. But then we will be back for more of Hades 2 for the foreseeable future. Every Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for coming along. I hope you enjoyed. And hey, keep learning, friends.